I guess that's a frustrating element behind this. There is no evidence to the contrary to suggest that they shouldn't be open. So, we've got this situation here in Victoria where a lot of people have got cabin fever over recent months, looking to get away for a weekend in the upcoming period. Take a location like Albury-Wodonga, for instance. They're going to drive the extra 5 or 10 minutes to Albury where they can have a bet, they can play the pokies and have a more enjoyable time than they are if they stop in Wodonga. And this is duplicated right along the Murray River. So we just want some equity and some parity there.
So you mentioned the health advice. The Minister, Martin Bakula, has spoken about following health advice. We know throughout COVID-19, experts say, here are the things you can do, here are the limitations, roll them out as you wish. You're saying you don't believe the health advice exists, and why are you saying that?
Well, there's nothing specifically to suggest that we shouldn't be not opening our pub tabs. It's ridiculous that we can have 200 people in Bunnings, but we can't have 10 people in a TAB. It just makes no sense. And when we ask for that specific health advice that suggests that that is the case, it's not there. The other point I'll make is that the government here in Victoria is taking the advice of the Chief Health Officer when it suits. He came out and said fishing was okay, only to be told a couple of hours later by the Premier that it wasn't. He came out and said it was okay for kids to go back to school, only then to be told later that it wasn't. So we're going to listen to the Chief Health Officer's advice. We should be listening to that advice on all fronts, not picking and choosing. And the fact we can undertake these things in New South Wales. Now, at Randwick on Saturday, we had owners back on track. In Victoria, we haven't even got a date yet. So we're lagging behind New South Wales on a whole number of fronts, and we need to get parity there.
Critics might say, well, look, Australians gamble a lot. People might think it's a good thing we're just about to enter a recession to not have access to these venues.
Yeah, look, our racing industry has 70,000 participants, and a lot of those are casual workers who currently aren't working, some of them not eligible for the JobKeeper. So it's a major employer and a major, I guess, contributor to our Victorian economy, and we need to get our racing industry back. The argument of whether gambling is a good or a bad thing is something that will go on and on and on, but this is an industry that's legal. It's so important to our economy. They're doing it over the border. We need to get it back on track in Victoria.
One of the interesting bits of statistics actually was a lot of money that people accessed from superannuation was spent on gambling with all these venues shut. So it goes somewhere, and I guess less of it ends up in the coffers of governments as well when it goes through other online means.
Yeah, that's right. Look, and one of the important points in all this is a percentage of every bet that's placed goes back to the industry in the state in which it is lodged. So if we've got people, gambling over the border or, heading into New South Wales, it is to the disadvantage and the detriment of our Victorian racing industry. So we're not asking for the world here. We're just asking for some equality. We're asking for a clear plan of when we can get owners, when we can get racing club members and then the general public back on track. New South Wales seems to have a clear pathway forward. They have dates. They are discussing getting things back on track. But in Victoria, we have absolutely nothing. We don't even have a date.